All right, I see people starting to roll in. Welcome, everyone. We'll give it another minute just to let a few more folks roll in. But in the meantime, please feel free to drop in the chat where you're calling in from today. I'm calling in from Utah. Jonathan, how about yourself?
I'm in Louisiana right now, but I'm based out of Maryland.
Awesome. All right. And in the chat, we've got someone from Chicago. Great. Yorba Linda, I love to see it. Keep it coming for those that are rolling in. We'll just give it another minute before we jump in. Fantastic. Love to see everyone jumping in the chat. Welcome. I think we'll go ahead and get started. Looks like we got a good mix here, and I think this will be great for our conversation today. So we'll go ahead and jump in. Today
Sounds good.
we're talking about thanks. Today we're talking about winning more homeowners in a changing solar market, and really just how to keep deals moving when things get a little more complex. My name is Janae. I'm the Director of Customer Success at Solo. I've been in the solar industry for about 6 years, and I'm really excited to share my insights on this topic today. I want to introduce our guest, Jonathan Sagner from Figure. Jonathan, welcome. So glad to have you here.
Thank you, Janae. It's really a pleasure to be here and so excited about this partnership with Solo. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, of course. I'm also really excited about this partnership. Jonathan, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your experience before we get started?
Yeah, absolutely. So I hope and think I bring an interesting insight into the field, into the space. I spent the early part of my career in the contracting space in the Mid-Atlantic region. I built up my company to about 5 offices and multiple reps, and enjoyed that for many years. And then left and migrated into the financing space. So I've had an opportunity to work with some of the larger lenders. Unfortunately, some of them are no longer in the space. I was at Mosaic for a number of years and so forth. But yeah, my history is on both sides of the desk, as they say.
I love it. Thank you for the intro. I think that is what makes you really qualified and especially helpful for our conversation today. So I'm excited for that. Thank you for that intro.
Sure.
Um, all right, today we really want to keep our goal is really to keep it practical, so you know how to actually take what we're talking about into your sales strategy and into your sales conversations. So, with that, we'll go ahead and jump in. I want to start by talking about the market right now. I think this slide is going to feel really real for most people on the call. What we're seeing right now isn't necessarily a lack of demand. It's that deals just are getting harder to close. We've got more hesitation from homeowners, more scrutiny on payments, and a lot more "it depends" conversations. So, Jonathan, from your perspective, what are you seeing in the market right now, and what is making it challenging for reps?
I think well, the market is clearly with the sundowning of 25D. There's been a tremendous shift. Um, I think what's important to remember is that the fundamentals remain exactly the same. The tax incentive might have disappeared or mutated to a different form, but what drove the market to adopt solar and other energy efficient products really fundamentally remains firmly intact. If anything, it's actually probably continuing to escalate in need and viability. So I think what is changing now is how we take it to market. And I think we all learned many years ago that the one thing that's constant is change. So this is not really a surprise, but it is an opportunity to adapt, to look at past techniques that have been successful and implement them now in this current market. I think um, there's probably three main things that we know. We know that the shift has gone to really clear budgets rather than incentives and showing the value as it integrates into the homeowner's monthly budget. I think the second thing is energy resilience. People are really looking to secure proper and professional energy resilience. And I think for that reason, storage positioning is very important in the new conversations. And I think the last thing is trust and financial transparency. I mean, I think we've seen the demise of some really quality organizations and some not so quality. And what this creates is an opportunity for us to learn from the past mistakes and adopt those lessons into how we operate moving forward. And I think one of the things that we're hearing over and over again is it's time to stop trying to really present it as a sales opportunity, but rather as a solution opportunity. And I think by articulating it that way, my impression is that, and from the experiences I've had with many of the EPCs, the contractors, is that type of shift has really led to better conversations with homeowners, greater adoption of the project, the investment, and less resistance on the closing of the deal.
Yeah, I think it definitely leads to a more natural conversation with the homeowner. So I totally agree.
Yeah.
Um, I do want to show some industry insights next. So, this is what makes it interesting. As you can see, the market itself is still growing really fast with positive estimated annual growth rate over the next few years. So, it's not really that the opportunity is shrinking, it's that how we're capturing it has really evolved.
Very much so. I think, what is it, like 80% of all energy that's consumed is purchased from for-profit organizations.
Mhm.
So, and the demand on energy is growing exponentially, right? AI, data centers, all types of outside influences are affecting that. So the price is not going down.
Yeah.
So we need to find more efficient opportunities for homeowners.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is a big one here. I've seen this a lot in my time at Solo. But there's many companies that put their eggs in one basket for financing, and I think that that really never ends well for them or for the homeowner. The conversation's stressed. I think the teams that I've seen thrive are those that are really leaning into diversifying their options that they can present to the homeowner. So I guess I would ask, like, how do you see teams successfully avoiding this, Jonathan?
Um, well, I think there's two ways. I think you have to be sensitive and really knowledgeable about your marketplace and what their needs are. I think diversification is is a very different word than diversification, and I think that that's important to keep in mind because I think it's very easy to find the next sort of get rich quick proposal that comes out there, and unfortunately, in times of distress, in times of change, people tend to gravitate to what they think is going to be an easy solution. I think the key is solutioning, is really getting in early in the conversation, exploring the need, the drive, the motivation with the homeowner, understanding what they're trying to accomplish, and then solutioning for that. And one of the ways to do that is to diversify your financing offerings because there is no one-stop shop that fits all. And I think anybody that leads you to believe that is not giving you a proper perspective. Let me put it politely that way. I think that
Mhm.
you're going to meet all kinds of homeowners, they're going to have all kinds of needs, and it's your responsibility to not only deliver, a terrific product with a quality installation and a professional level of service, but also as contractors, we need to step up with our business acumen and get more knowledgeable about how to satisfy all the demands of the homeowner in regards to the transaction. And one of them is creating affordability, and as I said earlier, with transparency.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that transparency can go a really long way. And I think that the goal of customers continues to evolve, and what they want out of this, I think, continues to evolve. Moving into this next slide, I think this is where really where things start to open up. More and more homeowners aren't just thinking about solar, they're thinking about batteries, roof work, full home energy upgrades. I love your thoughts and your take on this and how that changes the space for us.
Well, I mean, this is exactly why we want to partner and work together with Solo. It's because contractors need a professional resource to be able to support them, to create credibility, to offer the assets and resources to deliver a professional proposal that actually solutions and solves the customer's needs. So, one of the things that's unique about the Figure loan is that we're agnostic to what the use case is. So the homeowner could be using it primarily for the solar project, but you might find in the warm up in the conversation that in actuality, they're anticipating doing roofing. Well, you're talking about energy efficiency. So when you can offer a long-term, low-interest opportunity for financing, you can then present a project that not only includes roofing, but maybe since the roof is being opened up, adding insulation to increase all different types of value propositions for the homeowner, combine it with the roofing and the solar, you leave a very happy customer who's a customer who's going to generate referrals for you, but you're able to do it in an economically responsible way, not with heavy dealer fees, not with short terms that then they have to figure out 5, 10 years how they're going to re-navigate that problem or situation. So I think that's one of the really important things of diversifying your financing resource portfolio to be able to address whatever the customer's needs are and to have a finance stack that satisfies as many, if not all, of those needs as possible.
Absolutely. And I really think this is where Figure comes into the picture. Like, this is not a replacement. This is just another option, especially when the standard options don't really fit the customer's needs. And so I'm wondering if can you break this down just a little bit for us, Jonathan? Where do you feel like Figure best fits in like a reps process?
So my sales technique from years of sitting at the kitchen table and smelling fish cooking and the kids playing with my briefcase. I've had many years experience with it, is I really try to spend some time at the beginning getting to know my customer and getting to know their needs. I think some of the most powerful words in sales are, "You told me." So if I can return back to the homeowner, "Listen, Mr. Jones, you said to me, blah, blah, blah."
Mm,
And I'm not going to get that quality information without investing some time in getting to know them. So it's not a matter of just selling a solar system. It's identifying what their real needs are, because I think that by doing that, you're also going to identify the objections that'll come in the latter part of the presentation. The way Figure integrates with that and the why we're so excited to partner with Solo is that contractors are offering multiple verticals, right? They're not just doing solar or solar and battery. Some are doing roofing, water purification, all different types of home improvement, home service verticals. And people need that. Over the last 10 years, two things really predominantly have stood out. One is equity has grown at an exponential rate. I mean, housing values
mm,
have continued to escalate, and nobody has the ability to access that asset that has been building up for them. I mean, there is
mm,
hundreds, trillions of dollars, but for each individual, there's hundreds of thousands in equity that's in their home, and their rates on their mortgages, I think it's like 70 some percent of Americans are sitting on mortgages that are 5% or below. So they can't
mm,
refi to get that money out. It'll
mm,
be quite a long time before we see rates back down in that range again. So by using an equity product, not only do you get an opportunity to get a loan that offers the opportunity to take advantage of that asset, but you also get longer terms, which create greater affordability. You get greater underwriting stability, which means that you get lower APRs. So what that means for the sales representative is regardless of the product or products that they're representing, we can offer them and offer the homeowner a very low cost, very affordable, very transparent system that previous to all HELOCs in the past, this one is built for point of sale. We can deliver results to homeowners with the pre-qualification in less than 2 minutes.
mm,
We can give them the whole process from A to Z, including notary and everything else, in about 20, 25 minutes. So this is something that can easily be done in home. And funds are available in as few as 5 days. So a very different vehicle now for creating affordability than what the traditional HELOCs were. So with all of those things, you have an opportunity to really buy much deeper and much longer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think speed is such a concern with how fast and how quickly tech has been growing. These conversations need to be able to move quickly. And I think that Figure is really competitive that way. So I love that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. So I love this slide because I think it really brings back what reps actually care about day to day. This isn't just another product. This is really fewer dead ends, more ways to handle objections, and honestly, just more confidence in conversations. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, on what you think, how this benefits and why this is important to sales teams.
Um, the most important thing for a sales team is confidence. They need to know their product, their company, and their customer. What they don't need to do is become a subject matter expert on financing. And I think that's one of the reasons that Figure's integration with Solo is so impactful, is that we offer 5 different levels of support. So as the homeowner is entering into the process and as the sales representative for the contractor is there, we're there as well to join in the conversation, to support the contractor, to answer the homeowner's questions prior to the experience, to train the contractor and their sales reps on the proper word tracks, the best way to introduce it, where we've seen success. Why reinvent the wheel when other people have done it before you and you can just run smoothly down the road? So I think what really matters for sales teams is the ability to really express why their product creates value and solutions for the homeowner, and to be able to do it where they're the subject matter expert on that conversation, and other people, our people, are there to support them and be the subject matter experts on conversations regarding financing, monthly payments, affordability, and the transparency of the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's huge because I think a lot of homeowners, like any homeowner, any person, struggles with large financial decisions. So I think when you can bring in an expert on that front, I think that really helps the sale, especially because reps don't often feel prepared for those conversations when they get really into the nitty gritty. So I think that's amazing, the support that you guys offer. And I think that will really help reps just close more deals. So I love this.
Yeah. Listen, I think every rep has had this situation where you're making a presentation, you're laying out the options, you're sort of getting a read on the customer as the conversation's unfolding, and then all of a sudden there's just too many options on the table. And homeowners then get sort of stuck in this paralysis of analysis of what do I do? What makes the most sense? And so forth. And I think the ability to have experts available to surface their questions, to make them sort of understandable and manageable, and reduce it down to getting rid of the extraneous and just focusing on what makes sense, really gives a lot of confidence for the customer. And right now in our ecosystem, confidence is really important. There's been a lot of things that have derailed confidence.
Mhm.
So it's very important that we're able to articulate that and build that in conjunction with Solo and with the contractors. So the customer really feels well attended to.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. This is great. Okay, so this one I think is really important, positioning the HELOC. And honestly, I think this is where a lot of teams will either win or lose in this conversation. So, and I think, like you said, it's not really about pitching Figure HELOC, it's about positioning it the right way. So, how would you go about coaching a rep on how to approach this without overcomplicating it?
Um, well, I mean, I think one of the beauties of the Figure application flow is that it's all done on a soft credit pool. So it allows the homeowner to explore this if queried, if triggered the right way, to explore this at the beginning of the conversation. So, by using things like question-based selling, where you're asking questions, you're getting information, then you can lead them and explore the topic and say, well, listen, it sounds, like this is a project I know in this area, they typically run $30,000 to $50,000. Let me ask you a question. How are you planning on anticipating that investment? What's your plan for that? Most homeowners will say, I don't know, or I'm going to think about it, or I'm going to explore other options, or I'm going to need financing. But you can summarize it right there. And you can say, well, let me ask you a question. If I can show you a way to create affordability where it's within the budget that you're talking about, would it be worthwhile to take a minute to take a look at, so that as we explore further into building out your system, we understand what the boundaries are and we're not wasting time talking about things that can't happen, and we don't miss things that are possible. And I think oftentimes, since there's no impact on the credit and that's clearly communicated to the homeowner, and you have a better understanding of what their needs are, what's coming up, do they feel like they need the roof next, or do they have a child who's getting married next fall and they need to put aside money for, the wedding hall? What are the needs that are going to have to be a part of this conversation? And how can we make sure that they're all addressed properly, so that while you're talking, they're not in the back of their heads thinking, how am I going to solution this problem? You need to be a part of the solutioning. So I think that conversation should start early and not a great presentation followed by, how do you plan to pay for this?
Yes. No, I totally agree. I mean, the better you know the homeowner that you're talking to, the easier it will be to navigate that conversation. So the more you're asking questions, the more you're getting to know their situation. I just think that simplifies it for you. There's less work for you. You don't have to come up with this beautiful pitch. You're just talking to the homeowner, understanding what they need, right? Which I think is beautiful about all this.
Yeah. You're talking truth, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we spent so many years like talking schmooze and sales,
Yeah.
and the government's going to pay for this and blah, 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 that we sort of lost track of really articulating the value and the
Mhm.
reason. Um,
Mhm.
and I think we have an opportunity to do that with this product.
I agree. I agree. That's great. Okay, so moving in, I think one of the biggest concerns a lot of reps usually have is this going to slow my deal down? And I think we've talked about this a little bit in the speed, and I really do think this is where Figure has a leg up in this front. But can you walk me through what the actual homeowner experience looks like here?
Yeah, absolutely. So the contractor would surface to the homeowner a link that they would use to begin the application flow. They do it on their own device. It takes, as I said, less than 2 minutes to get a pre-qualification. From that, they can either stop and really redirect their energy to the conversation about the product that they're being explained because they know what they've already been pre-qualified for. They have a rate, term, and payment in just that short period of time, or they can continue all the way through and finalize a loan right there and there in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, depending on the homeowner. What's unique about the loan and is how it's been really designed for point of sale experience. So we can deliver approvals from a 600 credit score, and I'm going to say a 600 in quotes because having worked at other lenders, we have oftentimes said we can buy down to a 660 or a 680.
Mm.
And that could occur, but so could a unicorn jumping through my living room. I mean, it was just, you'd have to have literally a perfect scenario to buy that deep. And the reason is the underwriting was based on two things. It was income and credit, and that was it. Whereas with the Figure loan, we have, three components to the underwriting: income, credit, and equity. And the combination of which makes a much more stable loan, a much more secure loan, and a much better loan for the homeowner. And that's one of the things that, personally, I feel really good about is that we're leaving homeowners in a better economic situation. So the way we do that is we buy down to a 600 FICO. Our rates start in the mid fives right now. Our top rate is around 12%. And we're talking about somebody who probably isn't even getting approved in most unsecured lenders unless it's a C and D grade lender.
Mhm.
We offer a 30-year term, 10, 15, 20, and 30, not to our best customers, but to every customer. So every customer, regardless of where they fall in the risk-based analysis, is available to utilize a 30-year term, which, quite frankly, since it's agnostic about the use, if you're prepaying a lease, think about it, on a 30-year term, it's like a Netflix payment. I mean, it's super manageable. But you
Mhm.
could also finance a roof with that. You could also finance a full purchase with that. We go up to a 50% debt to income ratio. And I often say it's like a Ginsu nice commercial. It just keeps like, and then there's this, and then there's that. We'll lend to primary residence, secondary residence, tertiary residences, which are investment properties or rental homes or short-term Airbnb type property. All of those will lend to typically first, second, or third position. So there's a lot of flexibility, and we have very, very high LTV rates that we use. So as a result, homeowners have a lot of affordability offered to them to be able to make this or multiple purchases under a single umbrella. And that's one of the things that we're seeing. I mean, I was been at a number of conferences. I've met with, I can't even tell you how many contractors, and diversification is something that I'm really seeing a lot of. People are really moving out of being single vertical contractors and exploring multi products.
Yeah. Mhm.
And to do that, as we talked about earlier, you have this terrific platform that Solo offers, but the end result is you've got to make it fit into their budget.
Mhm.
And I think that's where Figure really stands out strong, is our underwriting allows them to do multitude of projects in a multitude of demographics with a vast variety of income, credit, and equity scenarios.
Definitely. Yeah, I think this has got to be one of the most homeowner friendly options that are out there right now. So I love it. I agree. All
We
right. Oh, keep going. Sorry.
just gonna, oh, no, sorry, and you don't have to switch back. I was just going to say the other side of the coin is not just for the homeowner, it's for the contractor. We can do
Mm,
disbursements to homeowners. We can do disbursements to escrow services that'll house the money and guarantee milestone payments are done on the basis that everybody needs. The onboarding process is completely different than the traditional lenders. They typically, want your little league scores from fifth grade and copies of your financials. It
yeah.
takes a month or plus to get onboarded. With Figure, it's very simple. I mean, we're our end customer is the consumer. That's who we have to underwrite. We don't have to underwrite a contractor. We don't have volume minimums. We understand that we're being added to a full spectrum, a full salad of options, and we just want a seat at the table. So the onboarding process is very simple, very little documentation needed, and a very quick process, not unlike how we offer a point of sale experience.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that is easy and solo. Like as soon as they're onboarded, we can get that option added to their list of options, and then they can start selling with it. So like it's a rather simple process for us as well. And I think, like we've talked about, as you can see in this little screenshot, we've just got a little snapshot of what the HELOC calculator gives you on the proposal. So pull up this option, you drop in a couple inputs about like loan type, loan amount, monthly payment, things like that. And then it spits out this estimate, which I think makes the conversation so easy because you're bringing this conversation up about how much this is actually going to cost them a month right up front. Makes the conversation much smoother, much easier. And the UI is probably, like you said, I think as simple as we can get it in this process. Like it's not complicated. Is there anything you'd add here, Jonathan, about using Figure and Solo?
I mean, I think that the calculator is just it's a terrific tool. I mean, to be able to have a conversation with the homeowner, get an understanding of what their budget is. And, everybody knows you ask somebody what their budget range is, they're going to say, I'm thinking 2 to 300. But, my next words are always, okay, and up to,
Mm-hmm.
and I just sit quietly and then they'll go, well, 300, maybe up to 400 at the most. Okay. So now I have a budget range of 2 to 400. That's a broad opportunity for us to be able to solution for them, for us to find out what their needs are and how we can make this budgetarily fit. And they know going into the presentation that this is where the monthly payment range is. And quite frankly, the calculator, as you can assume, is under promising and over delivering. So if we're saying 246, it's probably going to turn out to be 231 or 237. We'd rather up it a little bit on the
Yeah.
front end and deliver better on the back end. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but what it does is it allows your customer to stay engaged in the conversation and not
Mm-hmm.
have them worrying in the back of their head as they're just nodding with you.
Yeah.
And they're thinking, oh, and now they're talking about adding battery and how much is this going to run and, blah, blah, blah. We now have an understanding. So I
Mm.
think it keeps your homeowner more engaged and more focused on the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And as we go through, then we've got a couple more questions here. I know there's been some questions coming into the chat. We love it. If we're not getting to your question on this call, don't worry. We'll send you an answer after this call. So just wanted to shout that out before we finish up our questions here. All right, the next question. What does the approval process look like? We know speed matters a lot to sales reps and to EPCs, just to the process of sale, especially when you have a homeowner that's interested right now in the product. So what should reps expect in terms of timeline and the process here?
Sure. Well, I mean, you provide the link for the homeowner to utilize. They complete it on their own device. All their passwords are saved there. So all the verifications become very easy. And and very smooth. So the homeowner will get a pre-qualification in about 2 minutes. It'll show up within the hour on the merchant portal. So if that is a stop and start type of process, the homeowner creates an account with Figure at that point in time, which is really a function of creating a username, which is their email address, and a password. But what happens is that from the point where they go through the interface and ask the questions, the 2-minute questions, I think it's a total of 7 of them to get pre-qualified. At that point, a loan officer will reach out to the homeowner while the representative is in the house, have any questions that they might have answered by a third party with credibility. But that process with going through all the paperwork and getting everything done, as I said, is about 20 or 25 minutes, funding in as few as 5 days, and a fully articulated merchant portal so that a contractor is able to look in and see at any point in time where the loan is in the life cycle. Is there any friction? But I challenge the contractor to have to ever need to reach out to us. We have an entire team of partner success specialists, and all they do is keep eyes on the pipeline, look at it, make sure every application is moving through in the time frame, the SLA that's anticipated. Because quite frankly, none of us are here to collect applications. We're here to get funded deals. So if there's a holdup, some friction point, maybe they took a picture of their ID, but one of the 4 corners got clipped off, or something of that nature, we have a PSS team that's going to reach out to the contractor and say, hey, listen, can you help us out? Harry Reid needs to update his ID. This is the link where he needs to send it to. If you need to give him a call to do it, we can do that. But so we're constantly actioning the pipeline to be able to make sure that it flows through as quickly as possible. But one of the beauties of the Figure HELOC loan is that you can generate HELOC funding in less than a week, where typically you couldn't even get an application approved at a traditional bank or credit union in that same period. So we've really done a tremendous amount in terms of speeding up the process and making it very easy to use.
Yeah, I agree. That's great. Okay. Last, I just want to wrap up talking about the benefits of Figure. So we've been talking a lot about this, but I think this is really where it starts to click for the homeowner when they start to see these benefits pile up, because it's a good list. It's a good list of benefits, and I think looking at no dealer fees, flexible terms, and fast funding, I think that really changes things for the homeowner. So from your perspective, which one do you think tends to resonate most with homeowners, and also from the perspective of these sales companies?
I love layup questions. This is great. Um, I think, listen, I think contractors have been forced to, I think they've been challenged to create value because of the cost of the financing that they've been offered in the past. And I think being able to offer financing without any dealer fees, and I mean any, I mean, there's a word salad of fees that lenders have offered in the past: funding fees, annual fees, processing fees, whatever it is. We don't have any. There's one origination fee. It's to the homeowner. It's nominal. It's less than 2%. And it's built into the monthly payment of the loan. So there's no cash out of pocket for the homeowner to enter the project. So for the contractor, I think the most important is the no dealer fee. I think the second, and almost as important, is support. I think so often in the past, having been a contractor and having been a lender, it becomes this transactional relationship where if you're not generating enough volume, they don't really answer your calls. There's a lot of pressure to become something more than just a line item on a spreadsheet in those relationships. With Figure, we recognize that our product is great, but it's our service that's really going to make us stand apart. It's exciting to work for a company where we're constantly innovating. We're always looking to add, change, and improve the process for the contractor and for the homeowner. I think for the homeowner, the bottom line is affordability. So for them, when you can get rates in the 6% on a second with cash out, and you can take it over a 30-year term, that's super exciting. That creates a lot of affordability. there's a lot of other factors that, like I said, the Ginsu knife joke is legit. I mean,
Mhm.
we go up to 400,000 without a physical appraisal. We offer every homeowner the opportunity to surface their debts and figure out what needs to be consolidated to make their monthly budget work better. I mean, the reality is every sales rep goes in-house and there's a fixed amount of income. They can't do anything about that. And there's
Mhm.
a fixed amount of debt, their mortgage payment, their car payment, ballet practice, whatever it is. So they have to fit in their project somewhere in there. If we can expand that buy box and create larger affordability by helping them pay off 18% debt and bring it down to 6% debt, it's a make sense solution. It leaves homeowners feeling smart about having done this transaction,
Yeah.
which means that they're going to turn around and share it with their friends, their neighbors, their church group, whatever. People like to brag about, smart things that they've done. So I think for the homeowner, it's a combination of factors, but I think altogether it creates a real positive user experience, which is what the contractors need. I think it's what our industry really needs right now. I think we're fighting a little bit of a black cloud, and we need to shake it off. We have that
Mhm.
chance to do it.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Okay, so just in closing, I really appreciate all of the questions we got in the chat and also all of this. Jonathan, this has been great. If there's only one thing you take away from the conversation today, I hope that it's this that more options leads to more conversation, leads to more closes, and everybody wants that. Before we wrap up, is there anything you want, any closing thoughts, Jonathan?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think the first word you said, it's about hope. I mean, we create an opportunity for the industry to restabilize with better
Mhm.
financing options. So regardless of what is being presented to the homeowner, whether it's a fixed term payment for a roof or a solar project in combination with something else, by being able to offer an affordable, transparent option, we create hope for the homeowner to be really fully satisfied, to generate referrals, and we create an opportunity for the ecosystem to really stand strong and continue to grow. I think, as I said earlier, the fundamentals are still there. They haven't changed. So
Mhm.
it's a matter of us just adapting to them, and that's where success lies.
Mhm. Absolutely agree. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I think awesome. This has been so helpful. I really appreciate the time, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And Jonathan, really appreciate you walking through all of that.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much. And thank you to the Solo team. We're very excited to be partnering with Solo and very excited about being a part of the success stories that are going to come in 2026.
Thank you. We are too. All right. Well, for everyone on the call, if you're interested in learning more about Figure, please connect with the Solo team. That's your account manager or support, and we'll get you set up so you can start using this in your sales process right away. So thanks again, everyone. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you. All success.
Yeah.